Welcome back to the martinliedtke channel. Glad you could be here today, guys. Super interesting post. You think that's air you're breathing? Well, do you? No, I know what science says. It's oxygen, molecules of oxygen and nitrogen, etc. But I think there's more going on with air, and I'm going to tell you what I think is going on. The Matrix movie definitely seems to know what is going on with breathing. Now, you don't actually think about breath, do you, until you actually think about breath? You don't know you're breathing until you actually think about it. Strange thing that is. But every breath you take, I'll be watching you. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, Lord. Breathe. Breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Pink Floyd. So, contemporary music seems to know a thing or two about air. So we're going to step back in time to school days. I used to actually really like school lunches, and here's the archetype of the dinner lady replicated for the same world over, exactly the same looking every single school in the world. Food. I'm going to talk about food to start this post. Food. Glorious food. Where would we be without it? Yeah, dead. I absolutely love food. It's one of my most favorite things in the entire world is food. Now, remember in the Matrix movie when Cypher, the sort of Judas character in the movie, he says to Agent Smith, I know this steak isn't real, but I know it's going to be delicious. Plug me back in, dude. So basically, he knows the steak isn't real, but he wants to eat that steak and be plugged back in the Matrix. Maybe a bit of a nudge as to what is going on with the food. So I don't think it's always been that way, guys. Ooh, Welsh rabbit. This is cheese on toast, one of my personal favorites. I don't think it's always been that way. Now, remember the narrative in our exploration into alternative history and our research of many, many years among many, many people. We've all come to the conclusion that there are no toilets in Tartaria, which would possibly suggest that the Tartarians weren't pooing. In fact, they probably weren't dying in the same sense. Sorry, I'm just completely distracted. What is going on? Oh my God. Right, let's just get to this innocent party. It doesn't look like anything's going to go on here, does it? So, food, glorious food. I absolutely love it. So, oh, that party's not doing too bad. Could it be that the Tartarians, going back, were a vibration which would allow them to nourish from the air? It's called energetic nourishment, practiced actually by some high lamas who have found a vibration where they can extract more than just nourishment. Oh, God love her. More than just nourishment from the air, but data. Because breathing is interfacing. It's reality. This reality is encoded in the air that you breathe. If you eat all of that, you'll see exactly what I mean. Yumski. So yeah, it's part of this weird operating system, is what I've noticed, is the energy that we put through us with the food, and we definitely think we need a drink. So every time we inhale, we actually ping the grid, ping the grid. Oh, yummy burgers. Oh, I could do one of them right now. Look at that, 39 cents for a Whopper. Oh, times change, and I bet they don't look like that when you actually get them. They're all floppy, aren't they? And dilapidated. Anyway, so every time you exhale, you ping the system. So the interface itself, the system interface, it actually doesn't need a password. It's you breathing. Calm breathing gives you like a passive sort of experience. And if you're, sort of aerated or flustered in any way or panicky in any way, your breathing gets more erratic, and the reality that you perceive also gets more chaotic. You keep your calm breath, and your experience projection will be passive. Collective breathing, well, collective breathing is practiced by monks, and collective breathing changes the realm. Collective breathing wakes the asleep. Collective breathing is like a command input. It literally commands the ether. Let's have a look at this crazy person. What is exactly? This is science. This is real science being practiced here. I'm not sure exactly what is going on, but he's got something on his banana. I'm confused. I'm confused. Right. This is cruelty to children. Always hilarious, isn't it? Yes, narcissistic mothers. I'm sure a few of us have had narcissistic mothers. And the word of God, the word of the Lord, is written on Twinkies, as I'm sure you know. So yeah, collective breath, that's been practiced. If we all just put an intent into our breath, that would be the reality that we perceive. Collective breath, interesting thing. So emotions are curious as well. Not really keen on them myself. Emotions are non-logical. Emotions rip your heart out of your bottom, don't they? They make you really, they make you cry, make you really happy as well. I think they're an important part. But you can think of emotions in the sim, in whatever this is, as like an encryption. I think it's like sorry, that's just too trippy for my brain this time of the morning. So in the modern day, if people go without food for benefiting themselves, I wouldn't advise that. Fasting, I don't think, people do fast, and there's, probably spiritual reasons for it. But personally, I would strongly advise against it. With Breatharianism, you have to find a specific key. Tartarians, they can tune themselves so precisely to the grid that they can draw sustenance from the fields. And they're interfacing and they're getting data. This is my personal favorite meal on earth. Just letting you know this. Egg, beans, and chips is the best meal on earth. I fancy that today now, so I'm going to do that, but it has to be home fried chips. So, interestingly, though, I think this is all. Oh, let's have a look what this monk's doing. Okay. Okay. Well, he's happy, isn't he? He's coming. Why does his hand there? Doing, 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 doing. Okay, monks. Let's have a think about monks. Okay. So yeah, Breatharians. Yeah, this is super interesting, and we have been talking about this for many, many years. But I think there's a link between Antiquitech, the church organs and the rose windows, and the benefits that we have thought about that come from Antiquitech, along with obelisks, pyramids. I think that they hold memory because their stone is crystalline in structure, and as you know, crystals can hold memory. All of it can hold memory. So once upon a time, when I went to Rome, I found a piece of the Colosseum, and I tried this idea out maybe 35 years ago now. I held the piece of the Colosseum to see if I could see visions of what went in there, like, throwing the Christians to the lions or gladiatorial things. And I actually got nothing. I wasn't really that in tune to be able to do that. But at least I was thinking, even 35 years ago, that there was something going on with memory in buildings. Now, remember, with Antiquitech, these are living buildings. So the more you remember I guess, yeah, the more that the system will reveal to you. Think of memories as a form of energy, okay, that is stored, a waveform, and that powers the actual grid. I'm thinking that in the grids, we actually need loopers to loop with their negative energy to keep like the sim going, but maybe not. See in future events, this is something else that could be possible. Glimmers and visions of what's to come. I definitely think the indigenous populations, for example, the Aboriginals walking across the outback in the day, they could see these energies. They could see these fluid energies, if you like, these waveforms, and they acted with them. So living buildings create these waveforms. Look at this beautiful polished wall from antiquity. One can only wonder. He looks like he's glowing because he is lit. He's lit up. He's found the frequency, hasn't he? Very glowy individual. So, all right, let's just imagine, right, that you walk past an obelisk, yeah, and you put your hands on it, and boof, a childhood memory flashes suddenly. Yeah, the obelisk projects a vision. Or, for example, a woman standing before a cathedral, like just looking at the cathedral, and she breathes in because it's like so majestic. The air thickens, and excuse me, and a hat would sync with ley line energies, or the energies, the standing waves and ley line energies. And she sees a vision in the inner mind. And this has happened. So, there's so many instances of people getting visions in cathedrals and church machines because they are an interface welcoming you back to the informational source, like this beautiful building in Bangkok, in Thailand. Live Antiquitech building. We've seen this active, a film of it. So yeah, as I said, the etherics, they find the key, okay, the tune, the key, the resonance necessary, and they tune precisely with the grid. They can use these places. They go into them or stand near them even, and they drew sustenance directly from the field. Happiness, longevity, these things as well. If you can see these left over from antiquity, and you can see it's very worn. It's been there a while. But I think that these buildings help to metabolize harmonic energies, and the vibration created and encoded the air for our benefit. I've heard a rumor about him. He's gay. The sereneness that they get when they reach these supreme states of spirituality, the knowing that is all illusion, the knowing to let it be, the knowing to know thyself and be true to yourself, and be in clarity and be in truth and in love, whatever that emotion is. So breathing becomes a form of energy digestion, guys. Each inhalation is actually a download of frequency of memory. You can go into these places and get visions. You can see the future. You can interlink with other minds in other buildings. This is the internet of the old world. And also, amazingly, which I definitely think at this stage of the game is true, we could nourish ourselves. Here's Buddha sitting under a tree. Although later he thought, sod that, went back to the burgers and bloated out a bit. But to be honest, he looked really, really happy. He looked happy eating that steak, doing a cipher, going back into the matrix. He was like numbsky. Yeah. So yeah, the old buildings of the old world generating doing more than just generating charge, but keeping the grid intact. This whole grid system was doing it. Gothic buildings as well, as these Antiquitech buildings, they're devices to amplify this purpose, like nutritional resonators, if you like, for those who are tuned in. So Tartarians, they like to walk barefoot. These are the early days of drone testing. Didn't go down too well. Let's watch that again. See if you can do it again. Okay. This post is strange. So you could stand in front of this dugout, Turin Cathedral, full of bristling with Antiquitech. Wow. But Tartarians, they like to walk barefoot along ley lines. They like the sun gaze at the setting sun. And they took their nutrition directly from nature. And truly, our place in this is that nature would sustain us, and also the imitation of nature with living architecture sustained us. Take deep breaths, guys. Don't panic. All is good. In fact, all is good. I seen this last month. This is the San Marcos Cathedral. They got more rules than the Third Reich. They were like literally horrible, to be honest with you. So these church organs are just amazing to me. And it's not only the organs, it's the decoration that you see, the fluting and the vaulting of the ceilings is a science of fuchsia, where the sound would augment and bounce back. And look at these things. They're all over antiquity. Big Faraday cage around it. Water, big part of this as well, as you know. Ever decreasing, just like pyramids, and the knobbly bits at the top. It's like an old world computer component, as is this in the background. Oh my God. Full of cymatic windows, all set to a certain charge, all doing a different thing. This must have been such a different realm. It's hard to even imagine. These beautiful cymatic ports, giving a vibration that would give you energy, longevity, and plants and trees definitely growing bigger. But unfortunately, which is something that we have to, live with, but it is going to flip, is that religion got a hold of these devices, and then there was a third party, and then they messed with the device. These things here, these have been burnt out. As you know, there's one of them on the Notre Dame Cathedral, which was burnt out in recent years. This is in Paris as well. So yeah, knobbly bits, a highly scientific term of Gothic cathedrals. Antiquitech devices, amplifying the process, holding memory, creating a nutritional value, and all of it, all of that data that you can interface with is locked in the ether. And we, by changing our vibration to a place of clarity and unlocking from mindless, fake, bullshit loops that I have been stuck in myself, about one thing or another for the last 10 years. Look at this thing up there. So they're using harmonic technologies in the modern day. I feel that it is a weak-ass version of what they used to do. But the world is changing in ways that I would never have imagined. As you know, AI is weird. So yeah, look at the swirls in that. Just like the torus feels, the swirling of chi energy. And it looks like that as well. Have you ever seen Donnie Darko when he's got that beam of energy coming from his solar plexus, which is where it would come up from? Yeah, and you see that as well in the film Abyss, don't you, with them water creatures? That's quite amazing as well. They have like, I don't know if you have seen the movie, but it is a fantastic movie, actually. So that it's that story of Jesus and the devil, you know, what you get with in the Matrix or in many other movies. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, The Wizard of Oz. Tells you in The Wizard of Oz about what this place is. The lion, he can have his courage. The Tin Man, he can have his heart. And the Straw Man can have his brain, because they thought that they couldn't. But in fact, they had it there all the time, because we were born to this sort of, we were fully aware, and we were actually in a state of grace when we entered this place. And as you know, they grab you away from your parents, off to the education system for maximum brainwashing. Can you imagine the sound on that? So yeah, that emanating out of the beautiful vaulted ceilings, like flowers, imitating nature. Oh, very beneficial. People feel groovy after they've gone to the church. They're like, oh, that was amazing. Feels so good after them organs. Feel like I could, go to the toilet. So he's doing the old Baphomet there. That's really strange. Got a red cape on like Superman. That's all that's important. Oh, how beautiful is that? I definitely think there's more going on with it. I've seen it in several, oh my God, look at the colors, in several states of consciousness. This is interesting. The fireplace and organ in a living room. So we got the Anderon, so some sort of possible alternative heat source, but the organs, maybe the heat drove the organs. Interesting that was in the Vanderbilt mansion, Fifth Avenue. Look at the ceilings. It's living architecture, shifting your consciousness. And of course, bells. Here's a man in what looks like the 1960s tuning, excuse me, an enormous bell. And bells creating a tune, resetting, if you like, the immediate vicinity. They're part of this old grid system technology, which could be brought back online. So as you can see, with the somatic windows in churches, there's a lot more going on than you might imagine. Although this is a double Taurus, which is what I definitely think is going on here. And 369, Goose Drank Wine, the Monkey Chew Tobacco on the Street, Caroline. They know about 369. Advanced, mathematical technologies housed in the somatic windows of churches tells us that these people were a lot smarter than we give them credit for. The ancients as well, they knew all about chi energy. The Chinese, the I Ching, as you know, if you look at the I Ching yourself, you can bring this up. If you ask AI, it can show you a picture. It's binary. It's ones and zeros. They're telling you right there. Look at this guy. Always with the portal technologies, showing you in all of the Marvel films, Norse mythology. Yeah, which right into our experience. Yeah, we don't experience portal technology. So just breathe in and breathe out. Exhale, get that information. Now, he knows all about it. Although, to me, sitting there in one place, unless he's feeling that ecstaticness and amazingness of eternity that I have felt for a split second, unless he's feeling that state, I'm guessing he doesn't want anything else in reality. And he knows, because he's basically tuned in, and that he can nourish and get data and information, and probably know, like in his mind, what's going on everywhere in his experience that he needs to know about by remote viewing it, and glimpses of the future. The earth itself, it breathes. Here's a looking down on an azimuth equidistant because watery balls had a strange notion to me. But the earth itself breathes. So let's hope that that white breathing bit like sort of disappears from our reality, shall we? Just look at these Victorians, Tartarians. Now, they definitely like to chow down. It's really crazy, though, the selectiveness with, the sort of what they would regard as mental illness, in the Victorian era. They were putting people in silence for, addiction, sexual orientation, this, that, and the other. Yet spiritualists, so they can talk to the freaking dead, and the mediums that are everywhere in society in the 1800s and the Edwardian period. Spiritualism was big business. Look at these happy people, full of life. Look at these feral children playing out. That's where they should be, not sat in them bleeding devices, brainwashed, dribbling, and getting increasingly bigger. So this is a strange image. So I'm gathering by the look on their kooky faces that there's not really any AI's a pain in the. But, oh, here's a Marilyn Monroe moment. Woohoo! Let's have a look at that again. New York Street. So, yeah. Air coming up from the subway and skirts. So Marilyn Monroe definitely ripped that off. She'd seen that film. But they're happy, aren't they? Let's have a look at them. They're cheeky. They're happy. But they are eating. I don't think these are Breatharians. But their vibration is one of well-being. This is not the same. You won't get this. And of course, because they're so light, because they've lit up, they become really, really light, and then they can just float around, which is awesome. I literally could remember just laying back and just floating around my room, floating upstairs, floating up the street, floating above the trees, looking in the trees. But I was asleep, I think. It's difficult to know if I'm awake or asleep. Here's the top hat. Whoa! That's what's really going on with the top hatters, the men in control. They're really undercover crazy people. But we know that anyway. It's no secret. This is the only unhappy person you will see on my vlog today. Oh, look at that little face. I don't think I was an actual baby. I don't think I was born, actually. No, I don't. Oh, prove it. I can't prove I was born. I can't remember anything about it. Well, I might, actually. Because I was born in a thunderstorm and it was lighting up. I might remember it lighting up. But that could have been the bombs dropping in the First World War. Another memory. Let's have a look at these chicks. Both at the same time. He's happy. They're not so happy. Why is his hands like that? That's what they're concerned about. So take deep breaths. Don't have to do this and have a panic attack, but it is affected, how our data, our heart rate and our breathing determines the experience that we get externally. So that's been me for today and some of my thoughts for today, Flat Earth Britishness. Let me know what you think in comments. I know some of you are quite interested in this subject, but I really do think that in the past, no toilets in Tartaria equals energetic nutrition, assisted, I think, by Antiquitech. So make sure to subscribe to martinliedtke channel if you like this content. There's plenty more to come. And there is, I'm going to have to go live before the weekend because I'm going to be away on the weekend at the RiseAbove event, which is linked below. It's going to be fantastic. Get there if you can. See you on the next. Much love and wiggly flat thumbage.